Coming up on the Underrated Pod, we are going to get into Angel Reese. She did it. She set the new WNBA record for most consecutive double-doubles. The new record in the WNBA is 13. We're going to talk about the impact that Angel Reese is actually having on the WNBA. I do want to sort of point this out, though, before we get into any of that, simply to say that if you were wondering what the NBA record is for most consecutive double-doubles, well, that, my friends, is 227, jointly held by Wilt Chamberlain, Elvin Hayes, Elgin Baylor, and Walt Bellamy. I mean, I'm just saying, 13 consecutive double-doubles in the WNBA versus 227 in the actual NBA. So we're going to talk about Angel Reese and her impact on the WNBA coming up in just a little bit. I also want to give you my thoughts on this absolutely ridiculous fiasco that is the DeMar DeRozan deal to the Sacramento Kings. Now, I'm happy for DeMar. He got his money. He's actually getting what he deserves to make. What I can't believe is that Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers didn't make a move. Now, look, I know that they're probably thinking we don't need another mid-range player. But let me ask you this, Laker fan. Do you need an additional consistent end-of-game, absolutely fantastic basketball player that's going to average 22 to 24 points a night for your team? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. This has been, my friends, an absolutely horrific free agency period for Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to get into that tonight as well. But tonight, we begin in the W. Now, as I mentioned, Angel Reese has done it. She has set a record in the WNBA at 13 consecutive games of actually getting a double-double in it. And I caught some of the game earlier today, and as usual, she played really well. I think the impact that Angel Reese is actually having on the WNBA is probably a little bit greater than a lot of people realize. She scored 17 points, had 14 rebounds in their loss to the Seattle Storm. 84-71 was the final in that game. Look, Angel currently has the Chicago Sky sitting in the 8th spot right behind the Indiana Fever, who are now in the 7th spot if the WNBA playoffs were to happen today. Yesterday, Caitlin Clark became the first person in the history of the WNBA as a rookie to actually get a triple-double. She also became the first person that the Indiana Fever ever in the history of the Indiana Fever who actually had a triple-double in a game. A lot of times when we think of Caitlin Clark, we do the following. We just go straight and just look at the points. But you have to look at the complete player that Caitlin Clark is actually becoming. Fantastic at passing, fantastic at getting rebounds. And while her shot hasn't really sort of gotten to that Iowa Hawkeye level yet, she certainly is picking up the slack in a wide variety of other places. In terms of Angel Reese's impact in the WNBA, as I mentioned, I believe that it is actually greater than a lot of people realize. Yes, there is the off-the-court semantics that happen. Yes, there is the absolutely fantastic Angel Reese Instagram, as well as her other social media accounts, which, quite frankly, are must follows. Yes, there is the Angel Reese post-game and pre-game press conferences, which are also very entertaining. Yes, there is the fact that she's happy to be the villain to Caitlin Clark's superstar or superhero, if you will. All of that has sort of factored into the point where when you watch Angel Reese play in a basketball game, you realize that she not only can talk a lot of smack off the court and on the court, but you also realize she's one of those basketball players that actually understands the game. If you watch a Chicago Sky game, you will notice that Angel Reese is almost always in the right place at the right time. Look, I've been following basketball for 30 plus years right now, and I can confidently tell you that does not happen, with a lot of players. That is not by accident. We did a podcast earlier in the week, and we asked the question, if the WNBA draft were reheld today, where would Angel Reese go? And I said, certainly not number 7. I'm certainly going to reiterate that again today. Yes, the Chicago Sky are barely in the playoffs at this point. And yes, they've only won 7 games so far in her rookie season. But that's not due to a lack of effort. That's not due to the fact that Angel Reese, look, if they didn't have Angel Reese on this roster right now, the Chicago Sky would probably be the worst team in the W. All right, I want to know what you think, North America, about Angel Reese. Now, we're going to get into DeMar DeRozan's contract and how it absolutely pissed me off that he went to the Sacramento Kings and that the Los Angeles Lakers did nothing in just a second. I did want to touch base on an article that we wrote a couple weeks ago about Trevor Lawrence. You can hunt it down if you want on underrated.media. I still can't believe, as we're sitting here today, on July 7th, it's Sunday night. I'm recording this around 8 p.m. PST. And I still can't believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars had the nerve to actually give Trevor Lawrence $275 million. It's almost as if the Jacksonville Jaguar organization didn't pay any attention to the tape over the last 24 months. I took a lot of heat by ripping on Trevor Lawrence a lot during this offseason, but I stand by it. Trevor Lawrence, while I'm happy he got paid, the respect of being able to get paid, regardless of the industry that you're in, regardless of the job that you have, if you can get yourself paid, go get paid. But if I were running the Jacksonville Jaguars organization, there's not a chance in hell I would have given him $275 million in a contract. He threw 14 interceptions last season against 21 touchdowns. He had a passer rating of 88.5. Like, when you look at his stats, you immediately get to the conclusion that what you really get with Trevor Lawrence is a young version of Kirk Cousins. Now, as a Minnesota Viking fan and just an overall fan of the National Football League, I'm always happy to just have my football team at the very least find its way into the playoffs, and that's essentially what you get with a Kirk Cousins. It's also essentially what you get with a guy like Trevor Lawrence. But to give him that much money at this stage when you didn't have to makes absolutely no sense at Jacksonville. And I'm telling you, this could turn into a contract that they absolutely regret. All right, on to the NBA now. And so we're sitting here, almost 2 weeks into free agency, or a week into free agency, I should say, at this point. We've got the first iterations of Summer League basketball going on right now. I wonder if the Sacramento Kings actually win tonight, if they will actually light the beam. DeMar DeRozan has shown up and is sitting courtside in the California Classic game that is going on between the San Antonio Spurs and one of the Sacramento Kings Summer League teams. They don't have just one, but they have 2. They've got so many open roster spots, apparently, that the Sacramento Kings have decided to field 2 Summer League teams. All right. So anyways, look, I'm happy DeMar DeRozan got paid. And in fact, I believe DeMar DeRozan was probably the cheapest and best pickup in NBA free agency so far. Look, I know he's getting, $25+ million a year. He signed a 3-year deal to play for the Sacramento Kings last night. When I saw the news come down last night, I could not believe it. And then a couple hours later, I saw the LeBron James has gone ahead and shaved $3 million off of his contract, so the Los Angeles Lakers will fall below the NBA apron, not just the first apron, but the second apron. So they're saving money by taking $3 million away from LeBron that he gave back, so that they're only over the salary cap, only over the first apron. Makes a big difference. And it was a good move by LeBron, a good gesture by LeBron, and certainly a good move by the Los Angeles Lakers. What I don't understand is why so many teams, including the Lakers and Rob Pelinka, did not make a concerted effort to actually go out and get DeMar DeRozan. If you were to put up the stats of the players that went so far in NBA free agency, you would probably find that DeMar DeRozan would be most likely in the top 3. In fact, I have him rated as the best offensive weapon that went in the NBA free agency period so far. Yes, you Paul George fans out there, yes, he is statistically, at least from a scoring standpoint, is going to be more consistent night in and night out than Paul George is. Now, in Philadelphia, they don't necessarily need Paul George to be the number 2 player anymore. So it will work out from that perspective. With the Sacramento Kings, they certainly don't need DeMar DeRozan to be the second but they do need him to at least be the 3rd best player on the team. If the Los Angeles Lakers had LeBron James, DeMar DeRozan, and AD, do you think AD and LeBron could take a night off occasionally and not have to worry too much? And the answer is absolutely yes. Do you think that DeMar DeRozan and LeBron James and AD would actually work well together? Yes, DeMar DeRozan is actually one of the smartest basketball players in the NBA. There is a reason DeMar DeRozan, at his age, 34, is actually averaging over 24 points a night. Yeah, he was on a bad team in Chicago, which means he had the freedom to shoot the ball a little bit more than he would probably have if he played for the Los Angeles Lakers, or he probably will need to as a member of the Sacramento Kings. But what you're getting with DeMar DeRozan is like unbelievable reliability, a certain type of reliability that, sorry, Klay Thompson fans, you're not going to get from Klay Thompson at this stage of his career. You're probably not going to get that consistency night in and night out from Paul George as well. I do not understand why there were so many teams in the NBA that did not make a move to actually bring in DeMar DeRozan. All right. That is it for tonight's underrated podcast. I'd love to know what you think, North America. If you're catching this on our YouTube channel, please go ahead and drop in your comments. Do check out our Big Sports website at underrated.media when you have a chance. And, of course, subscribe to our daily newsletter. For the underrated, I am Dave DeBaugh, wishing you all a tremendous rest of your sports viewing day. To the drum beats we go.
You've been listening to the